What's going on, guys? My name is Mark, and welcome back to Millennial Reacts. I have some bad news. I was recording The Last of Us Episode 3 episode, and I was doing my outro, and then my computer froze. So the entire footage is corrupted, and therefore I can't upload the reaction. So I decided instead of that, I'm not gonna like re-record anything because that just doesn't make sense. You won't get a genuine reaction. So for this week, no reaction. But I was thinking maybe just, I'm just gonna share my thoughts for any of you guys who are actually interested to hear what I thought about the episode. Um, I absolutely loved it. Um, there was definitely some changes, and I will go into that a little later because I don't want to spoil anything for the game for those who haven't played it. But I definitely think it was a very well made episode. We dove into Bill and Frank's backstory, or at least what happened to them after the outbreak, and Nick Offerman as Bill was really well cast, or this version of Bill, I should say. Um, we we saw a very well-made, tragic love story between these two people, and I'm very sad, obviously, that they went out the way they did, but it's also kind of beautiful in a way. Um, Joel and Ellie, I don't know how long it was until like they got there. Like I don't know how long it's been, like maybe a few weeks or maybe even a little less than that. After they took their life. But they got some supplies. They got a car, and they're gonna try to find Tommy. And next episode, we're definitely gonna find out what's gonna happen along the way. Um, but yeah, definitely another strong episode. We didn't, what I thought was very interesting this episode was that we didn't start with like usually so far we started with like a scene from before the outbreak, and then we got the intro. This time we just jumped straight into the intro music, and then obviously we see Joel and Ellie, and then the entire episode is a flashback, which I definitely did not expect. I did hear that we were gonna jump into some Bill and Frank in this episode beforehand, so I definitely expected to see more of them uh, than I initially thought, but I didn't expect pretty much the entire episode to be dedicated to them, which was a nice touch. And I loved seeing Tess as well. She and Joel showed up in the flashback, and they both looked a lot younger. And especially, I was almost shocked by Tess's appearance because she looked so much younger, and so much more. She seemed so much more optimistic as well, which was very very nice to see, honestly. And Ellie got her first infected kill. I think it was a stalker that she killed. Um, yeah, she's kind of like trying to find the boundaries, right? She's not very careful. She always likes to poke the bear a little bit, and that does fit her character. Obviously, she's also doing this with Joel, and she's trying to get a reaction out of him constantly with her sarcastic comments, and I think that flows into that as well, where she kind of likes to break the rules and is not as careful as she should be, which might cause some problems later. Um, And we see Joel also warming up to her a little bit, where he tried to protect her from seeing the bodies in the start of the episode. So he definitely cares about her and wants to protect her. And I feel like he was pretty open in a few portions of the episode, but at the end he did give a very very strict like set of rules that she has to follow. I would like to go into some like game differences and stuff like that. So if you haven't played the game, I want to thank you for listening to me talk about my feelings towards this episode. And if you don't want to get spoiled, obviously, but I'm going to talk about the game, so there's going to be spoilers for that. If you don't want to get spoiled, I suggest you click away the video right now. Obviously, they made a few differences in this episode, which I thought was very interesting. We didn't get to see Joel and Ellie meeting up with Bill. Now, I definitely was looking forward to that, to see Nick Offerman and Joel and Ellie react to each other and kind of see how that relationship would take place on the big screen, or the live action screen anyway. I was almost a little bit disappointed that we didn't get that, but at the same time it is definitely it was definitely a very moving episode, and I do like this version of Bill as well. This version of Bill was also very different from the game. He obviously had similarities, but I feel like he was a lot more introvert. He was, and it makes sense for his character too, because he does like to be alone and do his own thing. But he was very he cursed a lot in the game, and really challenged Ellie, and obviously Ellie didn't take any of that and challenged him right back. And I really liked that dynamic in the game. I think that was one of the highlights of the game, was just that entire scene with Bill and the conversations and the lines between these characters. It was just so fun and engaging. So like I said, I was a little bit disappointed that we didn't get that this episode. Obviously they changed a lot with how Frank and Bill's relationship was like as well. In the game it was very much they definitely had obviously a good relationship at some point, but they had some sort of falling out at some point as well, and that's kind of when we meet Bill. And in the meantime, Frank had hung himself. Bill finds out when you and Ellie and Bill are looking for this car battery, and there was this letter written to Bill where Frank kind of says that he hates him. So definitely a very different relationship, and I thought that was very interesting that they changed that, because again, it doesn't change the overall story. So I think that's something they can get away with. But they are kind of on the edge, I think, like riding a fine line, so to say, because Bill was a very big part of The Last of Us. I feel like he had a pretty big statement in the game, and we didn't get that. I mean, we got it in a very different way, obviously, but we didn't get that. We didn't get any scenes between our main characters and him, other than some sort of flashback characters or flashback scene. So yeah, like I said, a little bit disappointed, but at the same time, if I had no knowledge of the game whatsoever, a very beautiful story nonetheless. and it still is, obviously, even with the game knowledge that I have. But I feel like because I have that game knowledge, it kind of, you know, it kind of ruins it a little bit for me because I have this expectation, and I try to turn my brain off in that sense when I watch the episode, and I even during my reaction, I said, you know, I'm not gonna go into any like game spoilers, and I'm gonna try to disconnect myself from the game, but it is not easy. You know, I'm a big fan of these games, and I know them very well, and I've played them a few times, and I've watched a lot of gameplay from them. So it's very dear to me. So any like changes, I have to adjust to, and like I said in my previous reactions as well, I do like the fact that they're making a little, some slight changes because it also keeps it fresh. And I did like this change as well, but it was a very big change, so I did definitely needed to, um, adjust to it. But that being said, definitely a very good episode and a very good performance by Nick Offerman and the other actor, whose name I'm trying to English, whose name I don't know, but I think I do recognize him from something. Um, but yeah, great. You know, they have very great chemistry together, and I think they did a really good job as their characters as well. Um, Next episode, it's very likely that we're gonna run into looters and maybe even Henry and Sam, but I'm not sure. Maybe that's gonna be another episode after that. So definitely a lot of things are gonna happen next episode. Looking forward to it. Hopefully, my computer will work with me and you guys can just see my reaction to it. And I'm terribly sorry that I don't have a reaction for you this week. Um, I need a new video card, and that's not, it's not that cheap. It's not the cheapest thing from the computer, or that's at least probably the thing that keeps making my computer crash, which I still don't know for sure. But I hope next week we can just all enjoy the reaction together, and I hope you guys like this episode as well. And I'm curious to hear your thoughts on it. And thank you for listening to me talk for about, what was it, 10 minutes, 15, something like that. It's a very different style of video, obviously, and not something that I plan to do in the future, unless maybe I see something in the cinema with friends and family that I really want to talk about. But I hope nothing like this happens again. Obviously, I just want to show you my reactions to it and then talk to you guys instead of doing something like this. But I at least wanted to give you something instead of just a community post or something like that where I say, sorry guys, no reaction today. So yeah, I hope you guys can at least enjoy that, and I see you guys next week, or in another reaction if you are following some of my other shows. Yeah, thank you guys so much for watching. Have a great day. Take care.